Let's Sleep Together by Flapjack09, read by Distracted by Books. Chapter 9, My Snuggle Bunny. Izuku and Mei stared at each other in silence, the tension thick enough to cut with a knife. Neither had any idea what to say, or even what to think. Slowly, Izuku's gaze traveled back down to the human-shaped pillow and the hands wrapped around its plush neck. It was only then that Izuku realized what he was doing, the realization hitting him like a truck. Oh, Kami. He pulled his hands away from the pillow as if it were on fire. What am I doing? What am I... 10 million? His blood ran cold at the hesitance in Mei's voice, almost as if she was scared of him. What are you doing? I can explain. He desperately tried to save face, but even he was aware of the stupidity of the chain of events that brought him to this point. I came to pick up my sleeping pills and got jealous of a pillow. He hung his head in shame, not wanting to see Mei's reaction. He had just barged into her room and messed with one of her babies, the thing she valued more than anything else in life. He didn't need to see her face to know she probably hated him now. I'm sorry. I'll leave you alone. He speed-walked out of the room, his eyes squeezed shut to prevent tears from spilling, but as he passed by Mei, they suddenly shot open when he felt her grab him by the hand. Hold on, she said, rightfully confused. You were jealous of it? Of course, she probably wants a real explanation so she can report me, he thought, figuring he at least owed her that much. Yeah, He hesitated for a second, feeling incomprehensibly stupid for what he was about to say next. Was jealous that it got to cuddle with you every night? Mei went silent for a few agonizing seconds, so much so that Izuku couldn't help but glance up to see the no doubt enraged look on her face. But what he was met with, instead, was one of pure contemplation, like she was trying to decipher a puzzle in her mind. Mei? You were jealous, she repeated, not as a question, but as a statement. Why? Why? Izuku dumbfoundedly parroted, unable to tell if she was being serious right now. Because I like sleeping with you, Mei. Because I like cuddling with you. Because I like the feeling of your body pressed up against mine. I don't know how else to say it, he shamelessly admitted, too caught up in the moment to care. For some reason, Mei appeared guilty at this admission as she bit her trembling lip. You really liked all that? Even though I was stringing you along the whole time? Izuku furrowed his brow at her. Stringing me along? What are you talking about? You know. She uncomfortably shifted in place, struggling to find the words. Apparently, there's this whole emotional, romantic aspect sleeping together that I didn't even know about. But you did. You were probably thinking about it the whole time while we were together, and I just... I feel like such an idiot for even suggesting this experiment in the first place. She cupped her face in her hands and let out a frustrated shout. As Izuku watched, he started to put together the pieces of Mei's thought process. Wait, you thought that since we were cuddling together, we were dating or romantically involved or something? He wouldn't lie, a few of those thoughts passed his mind at some points, but he never seriously considered them. Isn't that how it works? That's how it went with Mina and her boyfriends. An amused smile graced Izuku's face as he figured out the root of the issue. You say that like it's a foregone conclusion, but whether or not we view each other in that way is up to us. Mei's eyes widened, the realization slowly dawning on her. Let me ask you this. Do you still like cuddling with me? She gave a light nod, her expression unchanging. Of course I do. So do I. And I don't care if we do it as friends, lovers, or something in between. I just want to spend more time with you. He extended his arms out for a hug, wearing a hopeful smile. What do you say? It wasn't even a question for Mei. In an instant, she threw herself into Izuku's embrace, desperately latching onto his body like it had been years since they'd felt each other's touch, when in reality it hadn't even been a day. I'm sorry I tried to cut things off with you, she mumbled into his ear, her chin resting on his shoulder. Izuku let out a light chuckle. Yeah, that wasn't the smartest thing to do. Ironic, considering she often touted herself as a genius. I know. I'm not good with talking, or people, or emotional stuff. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you feel bad about yourself. It's okay, he assured, the pair rubbing circles on each other's backs. I'll always be your snuggle buddy. He might have found the term cringe, but for Mei, he'd gladly use it 1,000,000 times. And we don't have to worry about it right now. Why don't we just do what we usually do? Both his and May's eyes traveled over to the bed, which looked especially tantalizing right about now. I like that. Taking Izuku's hand, she excitedly skipped over to the bed, only to nearly trip on a large green lump along the way. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. She peered down at the human-shaped pillow. Sorry again for beating up and strangling that. Izuku shriveled up in both guilt and embarrassment. Don't worry. I never liked that thing anyways. I just made it to justify breaking things off with you. Izuku stared at Mei like she had just grown a second head. Never in his life did he think she'd grow to openly dislike one of her babies. What should we do with it then? Mei hummed thoughtfully as she tapped a finger to her chin. Slowly, a crazed smile stretched across her face, coinciding with the idea forming in her mind. I've got a good suggestion. This is nice. Izuku sighed contentedly, his head resting against Mei's shoulder as the two were bundled up in a large blanket. Right in front of them, a fire emitted a warm orange glow onto the pair, coupled with a series of satisfying crackling sounds. Which part? The roasted marshmallows, or the fact that the pillow I made is surprisingly flammable? I meant the fact that I'm here with you right now, he giggled, with Mei affectionately rolling her eyes at his compliment. But the roasted marshmallows are good too. Do you think you could? Sure. She removed the multi-pronged stick from the fire, holding it up to Izuku so he could bite into the marshmallow. Perfection, he said with a satisfied moan. We should cuddle up by the fire more often. Mei decided right then and there. You think I'll be able to build a miniature fireplace in my room? I don't want to have to go out into the forest every time we do this. I'm not sure Power Loader would approve of that. Hey, he approved of us cuddling in the first place, right? Huh, I guess you're right. But regardless of what he said, Izuku knew this would only be the beginning of his and Mei's cuddling escapades, and he couldn't wait to see what the future had in store for them. End of chapter.